Peace, brothers and sisters. So I wanted to start this series, man, and this probably wound up being a book because I want y'all to know I ain't new to this, that I'm true to this, and we started a long time ago doing this stuff. I started here at Conscious Heads in the year 2000. That's when we opened up for business. 2000, August the 17th, 2000. Now, we had the building since 1999. Now, let me tell you how this started. And I had to tell you a little bit about how I started. So I started barbering when I was in the seventh grade. Started barbering when I was in the seventh grade. Uh, I had to find people to cut. I love cutting. There was a guy around the way who used to cut people hair, and for some reason, I just liked the way those people would walk around feeling like, yeah, he cut my hair, such and such cut my hair, and it was like, man, I just like the feeling that that they used to have, and I'm like, man, I need to learn how to do that. And so we didn't have YouTube back then, so I started to study just thinking though, like studying with myself because I went to the barbershop sometime and I would kind of watch them a little bit. I didn't really ask a whole lot of questions, but I just really just started figuring out myself. Really didn't know a whole lot. Anyway, so I started in seventh grade. I got a couple people from around the neighborhood to let me cut their hair. Some of them became victims that would help me on the way, and some of them I did okay with during that time. Started cutting hair in school and I would make a couple dollars in high school. I would go up into the offices sometimes and cut hair and do certain things. That was like my beginnings. That's how I got started. Charge a little bit, make some money around the way, around the neighborhood a little bit. So we were actually rolling with that. So then I was working at everyone's place. This is after I got out of school. Didn't really want to go into barbering at all. But when I got out of school, didn't know what I wanted to do. I was working at a bookstore called Everyone's Place. And so when I was at Everyone's Place, I met a guy named Mr. Leon. Mr. Leon, who became my master barber. I asked him one day, he was telling me he cut hair, he would come up and talk to me a lot. And I said, do you mind taking me on as a master barber? And he said, hey, look, let's do it. At that time, I had a book. So I left Everyone's Place maybe some months after, and I started my own business, which is called Conscious Views. Conscious Views was the bookstore on wheels. Anybody remember that? We used to go out and I would go to different salons and take my book cart and walk into salons. Hey, look, we Conscious Views bookstore, one of a kind, had our cars, had our shirts. And then at that time, Brother Suniata would join me and we became the Conscious Views crew. And we would go out to different salons and we would sell books into hair salons, barbershops every now and again, but the brothers ain't spend that money. So we went to the salons. So, that was like how we started. So then as I'm working at on Charles Street, with a brother named Rodney Bulls. Shout out to Rodney Bulls for, owning that shop there, gave me a chance and an opportunity. He was getting ready to close the shop. So I was like, man, I gotta find something. With no money at all, I go around and I start looking, and there's a brother, my good friend David Miller. His brother named Peter Miller. He's gone on with the ancestors now, God rest his soul. And brother Peter Miller was doing real estate at the time. So Peter took me around different places to try to find a spot. So lo and behold, 219 East 25th Street was one of those spaces. Went in, went around looking at these spots. I'm like, okay, I like it. So maybe like on about 4 days later, me and my mom was rolling up 25th Street. And I said, well, looked over. I said, Mom, that's one of the spots right there that I went to the other day. She said, oh, yeah. We saw a man out there, Caucasian man, you know what I mean? So I'm like, well, I wonder if he's the owner of the shop. So she said, you want to go see? So she pulled over and we talked to him. And he say, we talking to him like, yeah, I want to open up a barbershop here and blah, 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 blah. And, he was like, oh, okay. Yeah, that would be good. I mean, I like the idea. And, so he was down for it. A couple days later, we come and we sign a contract for, the first and second floor. And, and my mom made the first payment down on that at that particular time. And it was a $700. I still have the check to this day that she wrote to Mr. Grable. And so, she wrote that check, and man, it was like, all right, we in here. Now check this out. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not have one dime. I ain't have 1 cent. How was I going into this shop to open up a shop? Nothing had been done. It had a rug down, walls need to be knocked out. Nothing was done. So I'm telling you this to tell you how through the years that I have persevered and how I've made a way from no way with nothing. So all this money that a lot of people talk about that they need for schools and all of this stuff. When I started without a dime, right? But I had heart, and I had determination that I was going to actually pull this off. Got in there. First thing I did, I had made some money from the barbershop. I got with a brother, and the brother Kamal, matter of fact, he knocked down the walls, knocked down 2 walls in there from the get-go. We did that like the following week. Only to find out as we started to call downtown, down to the zoning department, that oh, we couldn't use this spot because it wasn't zoned correctly. It wasn't commercially zoned. It was zoned office residential. Started a problem. So now we had to leave the walls with the wires hanging out because we might have had to put the walls back. Now that starts the process of all right. I will go down and meet with the planning committee um, down at the zoning board. So I'm down there talking to them. I can remember the meeting I went with Brother Tim Fitz. Shout out Brother Tim. We go in the meeting with these people. And they say, "Hey, look, why don't you just find another building? Like it's not zoned correctly. You're probably not going to get what you need. Just find another building. There's too much of the What does this building mean something to you?" I was like, "Well, look, I just want the building. Why can't I have the building? Well, it's not zoned correctly. What do I have to do?" So, left there, they was pretty like, "Look, man, just find another building." So I went down to I went with my lawyer, we left. And even my lawyer at the time, Timmy said, "Jabari, some fights, man. Won't you just find another building?" And I wasn't hearing that. I said, "What do I need to do?" And I asked, they said, "You have to prove that a business was there." I forget the actual terms, that a business was there before. So I started just, I called the library. I went to the library and I said, "I need to find information on this property right here." They took me to some things called the crisscross reference at the time. And so I found some businesses there. I started researching at that time. So then we had to go and get these petitions signed around the neighborhood. So I went from place to place with these petitions and getting these petitions signed from door to door around the neighborhood. This is where I met good brother, the honorable brother Carl Stokes at the time, councilman for life. And I knocked on the door, and his mom came to the door. She said, "Carl, come to the door." And I said, "Oh, okay. I seen him from the news." I said, "Yeah, I'm trying to get, my building zone correctly. We're trying to open up a barber shop." And, he said, "Okay, I can help you." He gave me his phone number, and I started calling him. And he would call down to the planning commission. He called this person. He called that person. He did everything that he said that he was going to do. Is why, we friends to this day. And he helped out a lot with the process. Anyway, I went so hard back and forth with these people. I called them every day, every single day, and they were like, "Man, what is it with you in this building?" So finally, had to put my zone and stuff up and all this stuff. And this is all in a year process. When I went down to the zoning board and I had to go before the zoning board, the whole the planning commission came down. There was 6 or 7 of them, people that was on the committee. They came down in support of me because they said, "I never seen a guy work so hard to get this building." And I did that, you know what I'm saying? And we got into the building. We got the permits that we needed to get into this building. So I wanted to let you know, and this is just part one of what we had to do to get in here. After that, we still had to go through a process. After we got that, we had to go through the urban renewal project and get okay from them. That was another month project process, but we went through it and we got into this building. This building is very special to us, 219 East 25th Street. And like I said, I was just so happy to buy this building back in 2023. It's an old building, but the building needs some love. It needs some work in there. But that's part one, fam. I got a lot of stories to tell about about being in business with conscious heads. But the whole thing is to keep going, to persevere, to keep going, never give up, and never give in. I was getting in this building. Oh, how I got the money? The way that I got the money was I wrote down a list about 50 people, and I was doing things in the community, and people liked the things that I was doing. So I went and asked these different people in the community. My mama came up with with some thousands of dollars. My grandmother gave me credit cards, a couple credit cards to max out, and my uncles came in. They helped me do the work in the building. So my uncle Lamont, big shout out to him. He came out and spearheaded all of the basic stuff. My pops came in. He ran the pipes, and he ran many of the pipes that were galvanized during the time. And it was a family effort, but it was my spirit because I'm like, hey, look, we got to get in here. I got in here without a dime, but I made people believe in what it was that we doing. So, brothers and sisters, just believe in the process, keep fighting, keep going, no matter what, keep on going, never give up. Ashe.